Ever run your hand across like a perfectly smooth table or chair and just think, wow, how'd they get it so flawless?
It really is something.
Well, get ready, because today we're going deep, deep dive into the world of wood sanding.
Oh, cool.
We're going to find out how they get that like incredible finish. And you know what? It's actually way more interesting than you might think.
I bet.
We've got some awesome insights from RoleCatcher, and honestly, even I was surprised by how much skill and artistry goes into this. You'd think sanding's like the most basic part of woodworking.
Yeah, you kind of just think sandpaper and you're good to go.
Right. But it's so much more than that.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So RoleCatcher, they have this whole definition of a wood sander, and they really stress that it's not just about grabbing some sandpaper, right?
Right, yeah.
It's about being super precise, using different tools for different situations. It's systematic. You're not just sanding away wood, you're creating the foundation for everything else.
Oh, I see. Like you're setting the stage for whatever comes next. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's way more crucial than people realize.
It totally is. And it made me think the wood sander is like the unsung hero of woodworking. You know what I mean?
Totally.
They create this pristine canvas for the stain, the paint, all of that. And without them, any little flaw in the wood, it would be super obvious once it's finished.
It'd be like a domino effect, huh?
Yeah, a disaster waiting to happen. So you're really talking about a level of skill and experience that most people wouldn't even consider.
Right. And knowing how to work with different types of wood, too.
Yeah.
Each one's going to be different.
Absolutely. So then there's the question of, where does all this magic happen?
Good question.
Because RoleCatcher talks about how wood sanders, they might be in a factory one day, a small workshop the next, maybe even restoring some antique furniture.
Oh, wow. So there's tons of variety.
Right. That's got to be pretty cool if you like, different kinds of projects and stuff.
For sure. Keeps things interesting.
Totally. But it also means different demands, right?
Definitely, yeah. Like a factory is probably going to be a lot faster paced, maybe more physical too.
Yeah, and then you've got those quieter places where you might be doing really delicate work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole spectrum.
Okay, but hold on. We can't forget about the elephant in the room here.
Uh-oh. What's that?
Technology, it's changing everything.
True that.
RoleCatcher talks about this too, like how CAD, 3D printing, all that, it's revolutionizing woodworking.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Makes you wonder, are robots going to be sanding all the wood soon?
Right. Will there even be jobs for human wood sanders?
That's a good question, and I bet it's got people a little worried.
For sure, and it's not a simple answer either.
Probably not, no.
It seems like tech is definitely changing things up, but it's not necessarily like getting rid of jobs altogether.
Okay. So it's more nuanced than that.
Right. It's like maybe those machines can do the rough stuff, the big jobs.
That makes sense.
But when you need that really perfect, flawless finish, you still need a human touch,
I totally get it. You can't program that kind of artistry.
It's like, yeah, the robots can do some of it, but they can't replace the human eye, the human touch.
Exactly. It's all about those specialized skills. That's what RoleCatcher says really makes a difference.
And it's true, because they get into it, right? Like what wood sanders actually do.
Oh, yeah.
And it is not just pushing a sander back and forth all day. It's way more involved.
Okay, so like what kind of stuff are we talking about here?
It's like they have this almost like a sixth sense for wood or something,
A sixth sense, huh? That's a cool way to put it.
Right. It's like each piece of wood, it's got its own personality, its own grain, its own quirks. And a good wood sander, they just get it.
They know how to work with it, not against it.
Exactly. Like you were saying before, right? It's not one size fits all how you sand.
Not at all. You got to adjust your technique depending on what you're working with.
So it's like reading the wood almost like it's talking to you, telling you what it needs.
Yeah. And then choosing the right tools, the right grit of sandpaper to really bring out its best.
Okay, but here's something I did not expect, all right?
What's that?
RoleCatcher, they mentioned that customer service skills.
Really?
Yeah. They say it's important even for wood sanders.
Now that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Right. You don't picture someone covered in sawdust, giving a big sales pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is?
I'm thinking maybe because sometimes people are bringing in like really meaningful stuff to be refinished.
Oh, like family heirlooms and things.
Right. Imagine you've got your grandma's antique dresser. You're not going to trust that to just anyone.
No way. You want someone who understands how special it is, not just someone who can sand it down.
Right. So it's about communication, building that trust, just as much as the technical stuff.
It's like being a craftsman, Andy's a people person, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that, but it makes sense.
And, building those relationships can actually help you move up in this career, too.
Oh, how so?
Well, RoleCatcher talks about these different career stages for wood sanders. And it's not all just about, getting faster or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, there's got to be more to it.
Right. It goes from entry level all the way up to like master sander. It's about taking on more responsibility, more complex projects.
So, like, you could start out sanding those flat surfaces and end up, I don't know, restoring museum pieces or something.
Exactly. Though not everyone wants to be the boss, of course.
True, true.
Some people, they'd rather just perfect their craft, maybe specialize in a certain type of wood or finish.
That's cool, too. It's like finding your thing within the world of wood sanding.
Exactly.
But okay, let's be real for a sec. Even if you're like the most talented wood whisperer out there,
Yeah,
you still got to find those jobs.
that's the truth.
And this is where RoleCatcher really blew my mind, honestly. They've got some seriously cool tools for that.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more. Like, imagine you're prepping for a job interview, right? They have this database with tons of potential questions specifically for wood sanders.
Whoa. Seriously.
Uh,
That's incredible.
How cool is that?
That would be a game changer. Like having a sneak peek at the test beforehand.
Yeah, it's like having a secret weapon going into that interview, you know?
Totally. And it's not even about memorizing the right answers. It's more like you get to see what employers are actually looking for.
Oh, so you can really tailor how you present yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then on top of that, they've got that AI thing, right? The feedback system.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
How does that work? Exactly.
So it's like having a coach, basically.
Right.
You record yourself answering practice questions
Yeah.
like you would in a real interview.
Uh,
And the AI analyzes everything, your words, how you're saying them, even your body language.
wow, that's got to be so helpful.
It really is, especially if you get nervous in interviews.
Oh, for sure.
Mm.
But honestly, even with all the best prep in the world, job hunting these days, it can feel kind of overwhelming,
Like a whole different ball game now, that's for sure.
especially with everything being online, all the applications and those, what are they called?
Applicant tracking systems.
Yeah, those things.
Oh, yeah, those can be a pain.
So how does RoleCatcher help with that whole side of things?
So that's actually a big part of what they focus on, helping you get past those automated systems.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because a lot of companies now, they use AI to screen resumes, right?
Yeah, it's like robots deciding who gets an interview.
Pretty much.
Uh,
And those bots, they're looking for very specific keywords, skills,
so if your resume doesn't have the magic words, it's like game over.
basically.
Yeah.
But the good news is, RoleCatcher knows how to talk to the bots.
Okay, now that is seriously cool.
Right. They give you insights into what those keywords are, what skills you need to highlight, so you can tailor your application.
So you actually stand a chance of being seen by a human.
Exactly. It's all about strategy. Yeah,
It's like you're playing chess, not checkers.
I like that.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, even in a field like woodworking, you got to stay ahead of the curve.
It's not just about the craft anymore, it's about the whole package.
It really is.
Man, this has been fascinating. We started talking about wood sanding, and now we're talking about AI and robots and the future of work.
It just shows you sometimes the most unexpected things are hiding in plain sight.
Totally. But it also goes to show that even with all this tech, there's still something so special about craftsmanship, about working with your hands.
Absolutely. And like we were saying before, the demand for those skills is not going anywhere.
People still crave that human touch, that attention to detail, you know?
For sure. And when you think about it, that's what wood sanding is all about. Taking something raw, imperfect, and making it beautiful.
And knowing that you played a part in creating that, that's got to be so rewarding.
There's a real sense of satisfaction there, I bet.
For sure. So next time you see a beautiful piece of furniture, take a closer look. Really appreciate the work that went into it.
Yeah, and think about the skilled craftsperson who made it all possible.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe that could be you someday. For now, be sure to check out the show notes for all the links and resources we talked about. And until next time, happy sanding.